Relation Hacks presents 7 Things Women Do When They Feel Neglected. Have you ever felt like you're pouring your heart and soul into your relationship, but the connection keeps fading? Ever felt like the spark has dimmed? Do you feel like you're giving 110%, but getting back crickets? A study by the Gottman Institute found that 70% of women report feeling emotionally neglected at some point in their relationships. Many women experience a confusing shift when their once attentive partner starts feeling more like a distant roommate. What women do when they feel neglected is often a lot more nuanced than you might think. Forget the drama queens and damsels in distress narratives. We're talking subtle shifts, unspoken languages, and actions that might surprise you. In this video, we'll decode the signs, explore the reasons, and uncover what happens when women decide they deserve more than just lip service. Number 1. They distance themselves. When women feel unseen, they don't always go all drama queen. Instead, they might slowly pull away, focusing on themselves more. New hobbies, more time with friends or at work. It's not about hurting you, it's about protecting their own feelings. Amidst the distance, they leave breadcrumbs, subtle cues inviting you to bridge the gap. Pay attention to these signs. They're a plea for connection. Number 2. They don't share their feelings. Neglection makes women to be unwilling to share their feelings with their partner. It isn't because they don't want to communicate, but rather a coping mechanism built from past experiences. Sharing their vulnerability and expressing their needs can feel risky if they've been met with dismissal, a lack of understanding, or even anger in the past. The result of this is keeping their feelings bottled up rather than facing potential rejection or disappointment. Note that failure to express their needs doesn't mean they don't exist. These unsaid feelings can manifest in other ways, such as withdrawal, emotional distance, or passive-aggressive behavior. Number 3. They avoid intimacy. Think of this like a plant that's lacking sunlight. It might still have some life, but it won't thrive. Women feeling neglected in relationships may try to protect themselves by avoiding to get intimate. It can be a tough, self-preservation move. Imagine needing emotional closeness but being afraid to reach out because of fearing more disappointment. This lack of intimacy can further erode the connection, leaving both partners feeling isolated and frustrated. Number 4. They become more critical. Neglected women start to notice and point out flaws or issues more frequently than before. It's not that they want to criticize their partner. It's a way of expressing their frustration and dissatisfaction in the relationship. Criticism can manifest in various forms, like nitpicking about small things, expressing disappointment more often, or even making sarcastic remarks. This behavior stems from a deep-seated need for their concerns to be acknowledged and addressed. Increased criticism can escalate tension in the relationship and create further distance between partners. Number 5. They become overly independent. They start relying more on themselves and less on their partner for emotional support, decision-making, and other aspects of daily life. They may prioritize their own needs and interests above those of the relationship, seeking fulfillment and validation outside of it. Becoming overly independent in a relationship can indicate a desire to protect oneself from further disappointment or hurt. Both partners must communicate openly and work together to find a balance that meets their needs for independence and connection within the relationship. Number 6. They engage less in shared activities. Consider the scenario of Anna and David, who used to enjoy hiking together on weekends. As David became increasingly absorbed in his work, Anna noticed their outdoor adventures becoming less frequent. Despite her attempts to initiate plans, David often seemed disinterested or preoccupied, leading Anna to eventually stop suggesting activities altogether. The once shared joy of exploring nature together had dwindled, replaced by a sense of loneliness even in each other's company. Psychological research supports this pattern, suggesting that when individuals feel neglected, they may withdraw from joint pursuits as a way to cope with feelings of disconnection. Instead of facing potential rejection or disappointment, They choose to retreat into solitary activities where they have more control over their experiences. Number 7. They begin to set boundaries. When women feel neglected in a relationship, they might set boundaries to protect themselves and communicate their needs clearly. It's like drawing a line to say, this is what I'm okay with, and this is what I'm not okay with. By doing this, they're standing up for themselves and making sure they're treated right. Boundaries help both partners understand what's expected and what's not, which can make the relationship healthier. It's also about showing self-respect and making sure they're not taken for granted. Sometimes, setting boundaries can help fix things by making the neglectful partner realize what they've been doing wrong and how they can do better.